Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. This is Kirk Henderson. It is midnight now on Wednesday, November 13th. Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe, we are editors at MavsMoneyball.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with us very, very late following the Dallas Mavericks' third straight loss. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
They are now under 500, 11 games into the season with a 5-6 record, having fallen to the Golden State Warriors 120 to 117 in a game that can be, I think, kind of. I just saw a comment from Austin.
Same song, different verse.
Yeah, well, sort of, because there's a lot of different reasons the Mavericks lost this game. Austin in the comments said, "I'm looking forward to Kirk tearing into Luka," and honestly, that's the
Weird.
best.
Why?
That's the best offensive version of Luka we've seen this year because he was hitting the little 10 foot and under shots. There was a lot of drives. There was a lot. He didn't play make quite as well as you would have liked, but the Warriors were kind of giving him opportunities to score. I didn't hate his defense, though. I kind of hated the entire Mavericks team rebounding. So.
Yeah, Luka was 8 of 11 in the paint.
Yeah, I think that the things I hated about this game were the turnovers. There was an atrocious number of turnovers, and the rebounding. The secondary thing was I don't even know where to hang my hat on this one because it's not fair. The guy just got back from injury, but it's like the Mavericks bigs guarding in space was disastrous.
It really was.
And somebody in my mentions asked me in Twitter, he's like, why wasn't Najee Marshall in the game? Kind of really disappointed in Grimes' defense on Curry at the very end there. Curry was simply unbelievable. I thought the Mavericks, with the exception of the teardrop drive that Curry made, actually defended Curry within the extent that they are capable of doing. The problem with that last 4 or 5 minutes was up until the Grimes 3, they scored 4 points over 5 full minutes with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on the floor. And that is simply unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I don't know where I'm going to have to think about this one, because if you were expecting like a hot and heavy me, I don't know where, because I think you could really pull I think you could pull a lot of different reasons as to what ended up pissing you off about this game. I mean, I think we're all tired if we stayed up late. To me, the rebounding was just so killer.
And 18 offensive rebounds. You're not going to win a lot of games giving up 18 offensive rebounds.
So, and that's like a team thing. They all need to play better.
Yeah. I mean, your two centers, which are big, giant parts of your team. It's the reason why you went to the finals last year. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. They combined for 10 defensive rebounds, and each one played about 24 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Pretty bad.
Kevon Looney had 9 offensive rebounds.
That felt like the 2022 Western Conference Finals where Dwight Powell was just getting his ass moved out of the way.
I regret to inform Mavs fans that the Mavericks will react to this loss by signing JaVale McGee in the summer of 2025. But yeah, I mean, dude, I'm just Gafford had 4 defensive rebounds in 23 minutes. 4. It's not a lot. It's not a lot for your starting center in at least 20 minutes. That's bad. Who else? I mean, and it's your bigs didn't. No one rebound. The only people that rebounded was really Luka and Lively a little bit. Najee had 3. Kyrie had 3, and he's actually been pretty decent rebounding for a guard. And I know you can't it's not Kyrie's responsibility. It falls on the bigs and then it trickles down. But they were just and I think what was disappointing about this with the offensive rebounds was it didn't feel like the ball is bouncing the wrong way. Kirk, how many times did we see the Warriors get a rebound where 4 Mavericks were just kind of standing and watching? Oh no, we lost Kirk. So I will try to filibuster for a little bit and keep going on my point. But yeah, what I was trying to say was I think what was so disappointing about the rebounding tonight was the effort. It was a lot of effort plays. I mean, there was one play in the I can't remember if it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter. The Warriors didn't even get the rebound. It was Moses Moody was like diving on the floor for a loose ball on an offensive rebound. He didn't get it, but he was the only one that went to the floor, and 4 other Mavericks just watched him dive on the floor for this ball while he slid out of bounds trying to get it. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, like what's going on? Like this isn't a schematic thing. That's an effort thing. Like I don't really know what's going on. Like that was poor. And then there is schematic parts of it, with Gafford and Lively getting switched out so much on the perimeter. There wasn't much heft in the paint for them to rebound. Like that's a problem. Like when Gafford and Lively are contesting at the 3-point line, like your bigs are not in a good position to rebound. That goes back to a lot of other things. Like they were switching a lot. I think the Mavericks gave up way too many switches defensively in this game, which just kind of led to a bunch of issues and cross matches and bigs on smalls and smalls on bigs. And that didn't help either. But yeah, turnovers and rebounding were some of the things that killed them for sure. And now I am going to try to do my best here to get Kirk back in because his internet just got turned off. The magic of live recording a podcast. We'll see what happens. But they lost the game on rebounding. Obviously, we could talk about officiating, which wasn't great in the final 5 minutes. But to me, this game was lost with turnovers. It was lost with rebounding. And then defensively, I don't think they were very good. I think the Warriors shooting could have been a lot better. I think the Warriors missed some good shots. And that was an issue. And let's see if we could try to see if we can get Kirk back in here. Okay, he's going to try to join. Defensively, I don't think this was a great game for the Mavericks. And I think we're reaching a point where we have to wonder if the officiating changes from a season ago, where, in the second half of last season, where the officials called the game much differently, and allowed more physical play. The Mavericks very much leaned into that and took advantage of that. That's not here. They're calling games like they did the first half of last season. And if the officiating is going to be like that, what are the Mavericks going to do to counteract that? Because you can't change how refs are calling a game. And the Mavericks built this roster and succeeded so well by being so much more physical than the other team. I don't know what they do to solve that, because that's really hurting them right now. And I think you saw it a lot in this game because defensively they just couldn't impose their will. I mean, the Warriors' offense is very frenetic. It's very fast. It's a lot of motion and a lot of movement. It's very difficult to guard. And I think with the Mavericks being hamstrung with no Maxey and no PJ, who are good mobile defenders that can play small, it makes it difficult. Like, the bigs were on an island a lot, on a lot of backdoor cuts and a lot of motion. The Draymond Green running dribble handoffs at the top of the key means your big is up on Draymond, which means there's no backline defense because there's no PJ, there's no Maxey. The Mavericks didn't have a lot of weak side shot blocking when their big was guarding Draymond for the dribble handoff play. The Mavericks gave up, what was it? I got to look. They gave up 54 points in the paint. It's not going to cut it. The Warriors shot 16 of 24 in the restricted area, which is about league average, which the Mavericks hang their hat on limiting teams in the restricted area to below league average. And against the attempts, 24 attempts in the restricted area, that's a lot. The Mavericks it's just tough for them right now defensively. And they have to guard, like that's their calling card is guarding the paint. They can't give up 54 points in the paint and then also get outscored at the 3-point line. Because last season, the Mavericks made kind of a calculated guess. No calculated guess, but just like a calculated risk that they were, we are going to defend the paint. We're going to wall it off. We're going to beat you up when you try to dribble inside the arc. And their thought process, at least this is not me knowing, this is just me guessing from what they were doing. But I have to imagine their thought process was the most consistent shot in basketball is a layup. If we take away the most consistent shot of an offense, it's almost like cutting off the head of the snake. Yeah, we're going to give up some threes because we're going to be overzealous in defending the rim. But a 3-point shot is not as reliable as a layup. You make a wide open three, you make 45, 48% of the time if you're a great shooter. A layup, you're making 70% of the time. So the odds just kind of work out with you. The math actually works out in your favor there. 3 is worth more than 2, but 2 is easier to come by if it's something in the paint, something right in the restricted area. So now what's happening with the Mavericks defense is they're still giving up the threes that they gave up last season in terms of volume and makes. But now they're giving up paint points because they're not able to be physical like they were last season. And I think their personnel is tough with the injuries. With no PJ Washington, no Maxi Kleba, their bigs are getting hung out on an island if they have to switch. There's no backline defense. Maxi and PJ are fantastic weak side shot blockers. They just don't have that now. And they had that last season with Derrick Jones Jr. And I know a lot of people are going to lament the loss of Derrick Jones Jr., but this roster still has PJ Washington, still has Maxi Kleba, still has those athletes on the back line. They're just not playing now. So that makes things very, very difficult. And I see a wild Kirk. I'm going to try to add him and see what happens. Let's see. Hello, Kirk. Do you read us?
I can, though. For some reason, it's not connecting to my headphones.
That's okay. I can hear you. It doesn't sound terrible.
There we go.
Man.
Jason Kidd turned off my internet, bros. This is what's happened here.
Doesn't want the truth out.
I mean, I've not had Wi-Fi problems in
This is the first
months.
time you've ever had. This is the first time you've ever had a problem.
I'm staring at my router and it's got like everything's connected except for the internet, and I don't know what to do.
Who do you have?
So
you want me to do some
Frontier?
live? Oh, okay, I have AT&T. I was like, do you want me to do some live tech support for you?
Well, I figure we can keep talking about this stuff, and then I can kind of get back to it. Though now I feel bad because you're going to have to do stuff that I can't do if I don't have internet access.
No, that's fine. I can do this stuff. That's not a big deal. But I just talked for a lot, so I want to get to your thoughts, just to catch you in. I was talking about, obviously the rebounding and the turnovers. I thought were the two biggest things. And I was kind of talking about their defense and the officiating rule changes, not the same. That's hurting them. And then also with PJ out, they don't have that weak side shot blocking when Lively and Gafford are kind of out of the play. Like they're not imposing their will. Like they gave up 54 paint points and they still gave up 14 made three. Like last season, it was like, okay, they gave up some threes, but they took away the paint. Teams did not score in the paint. Now teams are scoring in the paint and they're still hitting threes. And I'm curious what you thought of the defense. Like it's not the same. And I don't want to just be like, oh, there's no Derrick Jones Jr. because I think it's more than that.
Well, I mean, the Warriors are a bit of a special case because they're one of the few offenses that actually run like motion concepts. And it took the Mavericks most of the first quarter to remember that they were going to have to fly around. And it's so funny because how many times have we begged the Mavericks to push and run fast offense? And then they do things like start the third quarter where they're running and pushing and they're unable to score at all. The inability of this team to score for long stretches is the thing that I just don't understand.
Right. Because
and I'm going to have a...
No, go ahead. I cut you off mid.
I'm just going to have a hard time with it. I'm just going to have a hard time with it until they figure it out because they have too many good offensive players. They don't seemingly have, or Luka isn't calling any of their easy button plays. Like, I don't know who to lay the blame at. I don't. I don't know.
Is this a problem where teams are figuring out that you just don't blitz Luka and they're running out of those easy gimme buckets that they used to get because Luka beats the trap so easily? and now teams are getting wise and they're taking away the lobs and they're taking away the easy spot up threes. Do you feel like that's part of it? Uh,
Maybe. I mean,
yeah,
Luca's shooting this bad from three to start the year
doesn't help.
is resulting in lots of other because I don't think teams care that he's taking the shots right now. Like he's always defended well, but I think it does something to a defender's fortitude if Luca's sinking three threes in a row over you. It's just like guarding Steph Curry. It I don't have a good explanation. Um, it's I'm sure some people really expected me to come in here hot and bothered, but like I don't know what else the Mavericks can do.
Yeah.
Their offense is a variation of your turn, my turn. You know?
Yeah, and they're doing some stuff, and like they're trying to get Luca off the ball more. They're trying to lower his usage and his touches, so that one, the team isn't so reliant on him to create everything, and then two, he can maybe conserve some energy to refocus that onto the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, then you're right. Then you see moments like the last 4 minutes, like before that Grime shot. What you said they scored 4 points or something in the last 5 minutes.
4 points. And one was kind of an ugly push shot from Daniel Gafford where he missed an open Luca on the far corner for a three. Just didn't see him and shoved the ball up and it happened to go in.
Yeah,
I mean, I was terribly frustrated by the miscues offensively.
yeah.
There's
17
just so
turnovers
many
is a
different.
lot for them. Yeah.
It's just so many, and 10 were Luca and Kyrie alone. Luca
Can't
is
have
gonna
that.
have turnovers, and like I don't like saying this about Kyrie the day after he plays an unbelievable game, but Kyrie tends to have live ball turnovers where not him passing to the other team. One of the best ball handlers in the multiverse will like lose the ball on a drive, and that is just it's just different. Um,
Yeah,
Games like that happen, but I don't know. I really find myself at a bit of a loss for words on this one, and I don't know where the Mavericks go from here.
yep.
Under 500, 11 games into the season, injuries or not, is pretty inexcusable. I'm sorry. Like I'm 3 games in a row. The Mavericks have lost games. We knew about the schedule. The schedule was it's there. So to have a 5 game homestand where you go 2-3, and then you head out on a 3 game roadie where you lose three in a row, because were all 3 of these road games.
No, the
Trying to remember.
Phoenix game was at home, so
Phoenix game was okay. So then
they've
they
lost two
played
in
the
a row
Jazz.
on the road. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
and
Jazz
you
stink.
and you check the back half of of the November schedule, it just keeps going. They play a lot of road games, and I find myself um just disappointed is all. I don't I
No,
don't know what to say.
we talked about the good start because we were like, the history is there. You don't win an NBA title unless you're a top 3 seed or top 4, I think. Might be
Mhm.
top 3. I don't think what was it? The Houston Rockets in the 90s was the last time a team that wasn't
It's
top
been 30
3
years. Yeah.
won a title. So it's like it's not even
94.
us. Yeah, it's not even us trying to be like holding the team to a high standard. It's just like this is how it works. That's how the NBA works.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it, and then also like if you want Luca to win an MVP, he has to be on a team start to finish that's a contender. And I know that pisses off our staffer Matthew because of the MVPs that Jokic and Russell Westbrook recently won. But historically, the MVPs go to players that are on the contenders, and the Mavericks have been a top 4 seed once in Luca's career.
Mhm.
So that's just, and I'm not saying they can't get there. It's not
Plenty of time.
there's still plenty of time, but like, the more games we get into this, like it's just not easy to do that when you start, 5 and 6 after 11 games, but they could rattle off some here.
I do want to
they're gonna
ask
play.
some. I think we should take a quick break and
Yeah.
cycle
Let's take a
back.
break. You're right.
And yeah, okay. So guys, you've been here for 20 minutes. You listen to Josh talk for 10 as my internet died, and I think my internet is still dead. Genuinely don't know what to do. This is just how technologically dumb. I can feel it.
You actually look good. Like your picture, you're coming in pretty clear on your phone. So good job.
Shout out to whatever my internet carrier or whatever my phone carrier is. But we do these podcasts after every game. If you haven't subscribed to our show, please go ahead and do so. We're picking up 5-10 followers, podcast subscribers. We really appreciate that. While you're down there, when you're part of the show, you see a live show. I try to post these at least 5 to 6 hours before we go up. If you hit the bell, it indicates and lets you know when we go. Usually I try to host a secondary show. I've hosted more than I did last year, but fewer than I would have liked. And tonight seems like it's gonna happen again. I can't do a show just because I'm not going to do this on my phone. But we would appreciate hanging out. Josh and I are inches away from the actual sponsor. If I can read prompts, that'll be when we'll tell you what our sponsor is. Leave us a review. Give us stars at that thing, whichever app you listen to. Don't.
I don't know what to do. You're cutting out like crazy.
I'm back.
No, you're in the digit. You're like Tron. You're in the Tron world now. I don't know what happened to you. Oh,
So you
boy.
said it out loud.
Oh, there you go.
That's the problem.
Okay, can hear you a little bit better now. Okay.
Kind
Talk.
of terrible. What kind of terrible show do we have here?
Anyway,
we'll insert some ads. Listen to those ads. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And then we'll be back in just a second. Okay. Do we do the Jason Kidd thing or not?
Sure. Wait, what is the Jason Kidd thing? Because I'm curious.
I will simply question why he's playing Spencer Dinwiddie at all. Look, go look at Spencer's stat line, man. Go look at Spencer's game log. There's some bleakness going on there, is what I'll say.
Did he kind of mothball him in the second half though? He did. He only played 11 minutes.
And the Mavericks played better.
Yeah, I know. But -6 and 11 minutes in a game you lose by 3, it's like kind of too little too late, right?
And at one point he had Spencer, Hardy, and Luka on the floor together. That's bad, man. You can't do that.
No, I know. I'm not sure what's going on there.
He's now 2 of 8 on coaches' challenges, 2 and 8. So he's won 2 and lost 8. I understand they're playing from a little behind with the injury stuff, but they're not in the place to be testing. Do you know what I mean? Like he's talked, like he went off a little bit in the one post-game session where he was very talkative, but I feel like he needs to demand more. That's all. And I think he has, there's still 70 games left in the season. I think he's got to use one of his rarely used bullets in a big way. And I don't think him being mad the other night was actually it, because he's got to do this sort of, it's what we've talked about for years. He's got to do something in the game where it looks like he gives a shit, because he really doesn't look like he's doing much there on the sidelines.
Yeah, what the tough part was the Draymond charge toward the end of the game, and they couldn't challenge it because he gave that challenge to Luka on what was pretty clear foul on Luka. That one was tough.
No, I thought Luka got hand. And
you did? Okay, so wasn't that on the replay? I don't know. It looked somewhat obvious to me. But.
I get it. I mean, I
don't know.
I must have woke up my 8-year-old. He probably heard me talking. You see him there in the background?
Oh, I did.
He just creeped away. I'm gonna go put him back to bed. Do you think you can close out the show?
Yeah, I do. I see a friend of the show, Jason Gallagher, is in the comments. He wants to join. I am more than happy to bring him in. I've sent him a link.
I'll see if I can rejoin here in a minute, but I don't know. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stupid internet. Thanks, guys.
No, you're fine. All right, we'll see if we can get Jason in here. Jason, if you're listening, I sent you a DM with the link. Feel free to join in if you would like. Hey, our podcast is doing about as well as the Mavericks are right now, right? Right? Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, look who it is. Look at that face. Ladies and gentlemen, friend of the show, Jason Gallagher, as you might know, part of the Old Man and the Three podcast with now current head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, JJ Redick, but still doing his thing over at that production company. Jason, what's going on, man?
I'm actually joining this podcast in hopes that you will get the Mavs coaching job here in the future. I'm a kingmaker. What can I say?
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Are you? Kirk was mild. He was not piss and vinegar. He was not pissed. Are you pissed? I'm curious.
I'm not pissed, and
I'm pissed.
I have voiced that I'm not pissed, and I'm kind of getting some hate for it, as though I am Jason Kidd, and I just need to remind people I'm not. I'm not pissed mainly because this is kind of what you have always gotten with this team in a weird way. They're just an ISO heavy down the stretch team, and they always kind of have been, and so it's kind of the poison we pick a little bit with this group. And in my view, I think playing these really good teams really well for the majority of the game gives me more hope than the disappointment that has come in the last couple minutes. Though they have been disappointing minutes, I think that those things are the more fixable things than some of the others. Now, I would love to come out of the game a little better. That'd be nice. I'd love the offensive rebounding to be better. But basketball isn't perfect, and they have been competing pretty damn hard.
Yeah, they haven't. It's not like they got blown off. Not like they got their doors blown off.
That's what I mean. These are really good teams, and by and large, the teams we're playing are healthy. And Dallas is dealing with stuff, and it's just I predicted at the beginning of the season that I thought this was going to be a frustrating team because of the amount of veterans that are on the team that have kind of been there, done that. They're going to be taking teams' best shots. It's just, this is the same team that went down 0-1 in every playoff series last year. Like, this is going to be a frustrating regular season. And these last few games have been really, really frustrating, but at the same time, I think there's a lot to be positive about. And I'm sorry, fans that are mad at that statement, but I actually do believe that there's a lot to be positive about.
Yeah,
Where are you? Are you high, or are you? How are you feeling?
You know me. I'm not as takey as I used to be, but I just can't get there until the team's healthy. PJ and Max. Maxie's a little different because I kind of bake in that he's just not going to play a full season. And Exum we already knew, but he makes a difference. He's a very good defender. Yeah. And I think they missed him a lot in this game, especially as I think I was talking about earlier. When you got Draymond running dribble handoffs with Steph, and they're both up near the 3-point line, and you got Lively and Gafford up on Draymond, the paint's wide open because who's guarding weak side when PJ's not there, Maxie's not there? It's Klay, it's Najee, it's Grimes, it's Spencer Dinwiddie, it's Jaden Hardy. Yeah. You're just not going to get stops if they can pass around you there. And they were able to, because that's what Golden State does. And Nuggets, Warriors, Suns, you lose all of them. They're all final possession games. Yeah. Suns are 9-2, Warriors are 9-2, Nuggets are 7-3. They're all three contenders. Yeah.
Look, and I hear the point of hey, this is a Western Conference team, the great teams, they beat great teams. And I agree. But, it's November, and it's do you remember last December? Do you remember that? How bad that was?
It was. I think what people are worried about is that we're going to get to that point. I think that's the fear, because they're 5 and 6.
I think that's a fair concern. I've been watching I've been going to a lot of Thunder games because I live here in Oklahoma City.
Right.
And it's just like a difference of it's also like a difference of schedule. Like Oklahoma City hasn't played good teams yet. Like they've played Denver a couple times, lost to them once, beat them once, and then go look at their schedule. It's like the Dallas has had a rough stretch of games, and I think that they've played competitively in all of them. I really hate the down the stretch stuff. So that's the part of the where the fans feel frustrated. I also feel frustrated. And it's not to say I don't love it, because Josh, you're more of an analytical guy. I love the entertainment side of the sport. And I think that like in some weird, sick way, my brain would rather cheer for a team that is going for the showy finish than the smart finish. And, but like, this is, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, if my vibe is wrong, but this is kind of what Dallas is a little bit when it comes to like down the stretch stuff. They try to get the matchups that they want, and then they try to just create a great shot in isolation. And that's just kind of what they've always done. And it's resulted in some of the most purely euphoric moments of our fan lives, where you go, Kyrie left hook, like hook shot, like what? That made no sense. And on the flip side, it's like Steph, on the other side, just had some heroics that are like, that's what happens when you face a once in a generation player sometimes, is that they do that. And tonight just straight felt like we got stuffed. We got stuffed in that fourth quarter. It was just
For sure. And you talk about wanting the offense to look different. I mean, the Warriors were doing the same thing. They were taking whoever Luka was guarding and having them screen for Steph, get the switch, and they wanted Steph versus either the switching big or against Luka. Like the Warriors I didn't see the Warriors score back cuts in the final 30 seconds or running Princeton offense and all that stuff, because it's kind of how crunch time goes in the NBA. I mean, you want it to be a little bit more, innovative at times, but I mean, that's what the Warriors were hunting matchups. That's kind of the name of the game, and the Mavericks just weren't able to do it as well as they were for a variety of reasons. The only thing I wish they would do more is I wish they'd do more dribble handoff stuff.
Yeah,
because they're killing it. Like Luka, I don't know if he still is, but last time I looked, Luka was leading the league.
Yeah,
points per possession on handoffs, and it's like, man, just do that more. But I wonder if playing against Draymond, like, dude, I know people are pissed, but that game by Draymond was an outrageous defensive.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And the one thing that I love talking to you, because I do feel like we're polar opposite types of fans, which is cool, But I really, you will tell me I'm stupid, and that's okay. But I really do think. Like I really do think that some of these calls really do hurt, and they in succession of each other, they're just like brutal, like gut sucking things. And maybe the Grimes thing wasn't, but I thought Dallas fed Lively 3 straight times. One was a charge I didn't think was a charge. One was a block where you could argue was into the body of Gafford, and then the next was an overthrow. But you just kind of go like, if that's not called, I mean, the whole game, and it's just, that's happened now 3 straight games where you have these really brutal calls, and that's the time where it goes like, okay, there's no conspiracy here. That is the NBA. But it doesn't mean you can't just say it out loud and say, damn, unlucky. You know what I mean? I say that in soccer all the time. It's going to happen to us in our favor in the future. I fully believe it. At the same time, just an unlucky bounce. And I think that those things matter too. Like I'm a holistic basketball guy. I know you'll never go there, but I do think that they matter. So.
No, I get it. Like, I mean, it was 114-110 when the Draymond charge on Gafford. I mean, if that's an and one, they're potentially down, I think Golden State scored on the next possession. Like, that's a crazy swing in the final minutes of a game. Like that's huge. And they lost by 3. And like, if that call goes the other way, like you're not trying to get a game tying 3 when Luka's up, that you're trying to, maybe it's either a tie game, you're shooting for the win, or you're down 1. So you don't have to take a wild 3-pointer at the end of the game. Like that stuff absolutely matters. And like, these guys are human. They're not
Yeah.
They're not robots. They're going to react. They're going to get deflated, and that's not their fault. Like that sucked. That was a bang call, and it went against them. I totally forgot about the rule about if you start if you catch the ball or you start your drive in the paint, that the restricted area doesn't matter, because like Draymond's foot was like wholly in it, and I was like, how do you miss that? And I kind of forgot that rule. But then others were pointing out, like, was he even set? Like, did he get there in time? Did he kind of flop? And I was like, yeah, I can't, argue one way or another, because like that was a bang play. Like, I don't blame anyone for still being pissed off about it. But yeah. I mean, it's 3 games in a row too. Like, fans, my position with this stuff is fans should get mad because you're a fan. And like, if this stuff isn't emotionally affecting you, then why are you watching, in a way? Obviously I'm watching for different reasons. Like, no one should watch it like how I'm watching. Like, I don't want everyone to watch it like how I watched it, because then sports would be boring as hell. Like, this stuff should piss you off. It should get you happy. I only get mad when it gets like toxic in one direction or the other. Like, you can be mad without like, going overboard and like being rude or jerks to people. But that's where I'm like, okay, let's tone it down.
I'm gonna bait you into one more thing.
Okay, that's fine.
Here's a big thing that I'm like a little about, and it's kind of just broadly speaking the Luka vibes.
Don't get me into trouble.
No. I don't want to get.
I'm teasing.
I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just saying that, like, the sort of he normally doesn't come out of the gate of a season looking so unhappy, and he usually plays with much more joy at the early parts of the season. And obviously the barking at the refs thing is its own thing, but it normally isn't this incessant this early in the season. And I am like, it's just a vibes thing, but I am a little concerned about the fact that like he is treating every game like it's a game 6, and I'm just like, he doesn't look happy. Like, he doesn't look like he's playing with that same sort of joy, enthusiasm that he normally sort of comes out of the gates with. I watch these things closely, and
that matters. I feel you.
I don't know. There's something there. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I don't feel like he's his like normal sort of fun self.
Yeah, and I think, that all ties into like, you just look at how his numbers, and like his counting numbers are great, but like he's shooting poorly. His assists are a little down. Well, he's at about like 8, which is about good for him, but he's had a lot of low assist games for him. He had 6 today. He had that stretch in October. He had like where he couldn't get to double-digit assists. And I think Luka likes to pass. I know people are gonna disagree with this, but I think he likes to pass more than he likes to shoot. Like, I think he would rather have 20 assists than 50 points in a game. I don't know. And he's not getting those opportunities. He was injured in training camp, and he got like that calf thing happened. Yeah. Like what, the first weekend? Like, they didn't even get to a preseason game, and he was already like hurt.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that plays into how he's feeling. He already feels like he's getting nicked up. He's already, questionable. He's already on the injury report less than 2 or 3 weeks into his season. I'm sure that's part of it. And then the way teams are guarding him.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah,
Notice
they're not. Yeah, like, and our good friend of the show, part of DLLS team, Bobby Caralla, our friend.
Goat.
Yes, for sure. Because I am not part of the elite club that gets that synergy data. And he's shared that data about, like, he's being blitzed less than he's ever been blitzed before so far. And teams are just like doing what Boston did, where they're like, let you play one-on-one and maybe shade the help. So we're not going to give you easy lobs and easy spot ups. And I think he gets a lot of his joy from passing, and the opportunities aren't there.
That is such a good point. I really know I'm making you dive into a player's psyche, which I know you do not want to do, but it is such a good point, because I do think that, like, when that becomes such a important part of your game, you weirdly search for it, even though it's not there. In a weird sort of analogy, I went to OKC Clippers last night, and OKC is not playing with any center. And so the Clippers are just force feeding Zubac, whether it's there or not. And it was like, it's almost the same thing. You're seeing Luka not have those passing attempts. And I completely with you. He loves seeing those lobs go down. He loves, just finding that open guy. I completely agree. That's such a good point.
Yeah. I mean, how many lobs? I mean, I don't think they had, I don't know how many lobs they have. I need to look up how many lobs they have this season. It's not a lot.
And I feel like our podcast is partly responsible because I think JJ had like 3 episodes where he's like, why are you blitzing him? Why are you blitzing him? It is so clear that the answer is to not blitz him. And now teams are clearly not. And it makes me think like, then he's now has to figure out another level to his game, which is sort of crazy to think about. But he kind of does. Like, how does Luka get his teammates involved when he's not getting blitzed?
Yeah, I got to figure that out. That's why I want them to do more of that dribble handoff stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like that helps. Utilize. I mean, they did a little bit tonight. Klay had a good game with the Klay gravity. Like they should keep experimenting more with Klay.
Yeah, and
just trying to get the heat off of Luka in a way that just frees some things up. That's not their normal bread and butter, and it's going to be. And that's part of it, though. If they're gonna figure this out, and they kind of have to figure it out on the fly, you're gonna get some moments where it doesn't look great as they try to figure it out. Now, of course, if we're in January 1st and they're 2 games under 500 and they haven't figured it out yet, then we can be like, all right, like let's.
My prediction at the beginning of the season was they're going to either do some sort of Miami thing again. I just think that this is a team that is going to be really frustrating to watch in the regular season. And it's why I'm almost concealing any sort of frustration now, because I'm just like, let's save that for when we lose to like Detroit and then, an injured Charlotte team.
That's a good point though. By the way, they have not lost to a bad team. Their 6 losses are Phoenix twice, Indiana, Denver, Golden State.
Houston, right?
Oh, and Houston. And Houston's good. They're a winning team.
I mean, Houston, they should beat Houston. I will give the angry fans that they probably should beat Houston. Many people were like, what's the excuse for that? And I'm like, well, I don't know what to say. Like Boston lost tonight,
Yeah.
I think that Dallas, I'm like fully prepared for myself to Dallas be very frustrating again, be the team that nobody really wants to see in the playoffs, make it deep. Everyone says it's luck. Run it back next year. It just feels like that's what they are at this point. But I think a fully healthy Dallas team, there's just something about it gives me hope. Like I would love to not see Spencer Dinwiddie get meaningful minutes unless it's like break glass in case of emergency. Like he would be great in those circumstances, But I'm with you. I think a fully healthy Mavericks team, it's still up there. It's still up there with the top tier of teams. I mean, we're watching them compete with these teams on nights where they don't have that. So
yeah, they probably win 2 out of these last 3 if they have PJ and Lively for all 3 of them. That would be my guess. But yeah,
you would think. Yeah. How important do you think Dante Exum is to this?
Oh, very important, because I think you just talked about like the Dinwiddie minutes. Like imagine if those Dinwiddie minutes were Exum minutes. Like.
Do you think Exum? My fear is that Exum's going to take Grimes minutes and not Dinwiddie minutes.
Oh man,
I'm a little worried about this.
I don't know, because I mean, it's plot. Look, I will not try to predict Jason Kidd's rotations. I think that's a fool's errand. But I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I'm hoping that because Dinwiddie and Exum are like kind of that same archetype, like they're both point guards, so to speak. I know people might want to argue on how much Dinwiddie is a point guard right now, but like technically if you like wrote down their positions on a piece of paper, everyone would say point guard for those 2. So maybe that's how he adjusts it, and Grimes is more of like an off guard. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we'll just have to see.
Yeah. I know Dante, I mean, he can be really important especially against certain teams. There was a moment where Reggie Miller was like, and they don't have Dante Exum, and that is huge. And the way he said huge, I was like, calm down, Reggie.
Yeah.
But no, I all that aside, I actually can't wait to see him back. So anyway,
for sure.
I'm still optimistic.
No, you should be.
Fans, they have bullied me all night. So
no, look, my thing is you can be mad, but if you want to like, you got to pace yourself too. Like you can be mad tonight, but like I always, what is it? Like you 20 game mark every 20 games. That's when you really want to check in and you start seeing trends. So like that would be my request is like, let's give it to
JJ's rule was 25 games.
25. Okay, good.
Yeah, his was 25. So you would know it based off the sidelines.
That's right.
The amount of fans that tweeted at me tonight, no more excuses. I just am like, guys, I'm not Jason Kidd. Like,
look, when you talk to the team before you get on the team plane tonight, Jason, you need to tell them it's over. Like
it's done.
Preseason's over.
Anyways, all right, buddy.
Yeah. Well, thanks for jumping on. I think we're 40. We got 46 minutes out of this. Thank you for saving the day while Kirk is solving internet issues. I appreciate it, my man.
It's always slacking, Kirk.
No, that's the one thing about Kirk. He doesn't work enough. I can't believe it.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, well, take care, man. I'll talk to you later. All right, everyone. We're gonna call that a night for After Dark. I want y'all to go follow Jason wherever he's at on social. I really appreciate him joining in. Glad he's a friend of the show. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think we talked enough. No after show because I'm not as good at Kirk at doing that. So I apologize. And I need to go with Kirk. No internet. I need to go make sure all our Mavs Moneyball stuff is posting. So go check that out. I have a post that I'm working on about Luka and his usage and his touches compared to the previous seasons that I would love to get that up tomorrow morning for y'all because I've been working on it for a while. Yes, I am in a closet. I have a we live and I work from home. And I did not want to put all of my computer stuff in our living room, and then we don't have a spare bedroom. And we have a gigantic closet. This closet is seriously almost as big as some of my older offices, spare bedrooms at some of our previous places. So it actually works. And our router is in the closet, which is pretty sweet. So I just hardwire my computer right there. So yes, I am in the closet, but it is fine. It is my little hovel, and I enjoy it. Oh man, Artur, this question right when I'm wrapping up, will they trade for the trade deadline? I don't know. Giannis, there you go. You heard it from me first. They're gonna trade for Giannis. I don't really know. Give me a minute to think on that one. Maybe next show, I'll have a better answer for you. I'm bad. Also, you're asking. I am the worst person for fake trades. I'm so bad at them. Dalton Trigg. Step Back Mavs Pod. He is so much better at that stuff. Ask Dalton for the fake trades. He'll help you out. So we're gonna call it a night. This is Josh Bowe for Pod Maverick. Go read MavsMoneyball.com for all your post game coverage, and we should have some more stuff on the site tomorrow. We will be back Thursday. So it looks like we get no more 2 days off. It's every other day or back to back. So we'll be Thursday. Another late game at Utah. Should be a better result. Utah stinks, but we'll see what happens. You guys take it easy, and we'll talk to you later. This is Pod Maverick After Dark. See ya.